Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to RVD Radio.
Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Assassinator! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! I damn got straight to your brain! Straight to your soul crack! You get down to straight to your brain! Straight to your soul crack! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! I will fly high! 5-star broad black! You can't stop me! 5-star broad black! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! It's all about the yin and the yang! The balance of power that's in! You can't stop the yin and the yang! The balance of power that's in! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! I will levitate! Flip kick you in the yam! I will decimate! You can prepare for! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! 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 Drop it down! The whole fucking show!
Greetings, RVD radio listeners. Happy February 27th, 2013. We have all made it this far. Fucking A. Here's to keep it on trucking, baby. Keep going. It's all good. All right. Haven't done a show in a while. That's the way that I always start. I always intro the show saying, fuck, how long's it been since we did a show last time? But still, you're still listening, aren't you? Still got the people that listen every single week, even though we've only been doing the show like once a month. So that's cool. That's cool. What do we got to plug? Opening up. It's big day for TNA because we're about to go back to work. Had the whole month of February basically off. Did some television tapings in England and put them in the can, let them ride. I've had a few weeks off. Tomorrow, Thursday, RVD will be at TNA Impact. Here's the inside scoop for everybody, even though I'll get hit up on Twitter all day long tomorrow. Are you going to be there? Are you going to be there? And often I don't know, but I do know now. Leaving tonight, got a red eye. Same flight I've been taking for most of the last 3 years. Leaves at 11 or 12 tonight, gets in at 6 or 7. It changes, it fluctuates a little bit. Sometimes they changed it a little bit. It's basically about that. It's usually even the same people working the airplane, and I like that. I get used to that routine. Makes it easy. But not for much longer, as SVD said, joining us here on RVD Radio. Hi, baby.
Hi.
SVD is with us, and as she brings up, that will not be the case much longer. I like the routine. TNA, looking to grow and extend their brand recognition, is taking their TV on the road, so that's huge news for the company, huge news for the fans, and for everybody involved. Just to mention, in case you hadn't thought about it from the perspective of a worker, it's a lot more work. It's a lot more work. It's yeah, it really is.
I actually, you've had such a great schedule for the last 3 years, and TNA has just been so great to have that. But, man, the thought of you going back on the road, like with, the other company, they ran you like a machine. I mean, TNA has a heart. I really don't think they'll run you like a machine like the other company does. But, wow, just the travel alone is going to wipe you out. So I feel for you, babe. I really do.
Yeah, and personally, I have contractual stipulations that protect me from being run to the ground anywhere near like I was with WWE, but that is
You lived and learned.
Exactly. I lived and learned, and that's a goal, though, for the growth,
Oh, yeah.
And the fans are very excited everywhere.
I know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see little bits of the country again.
So that's the part that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like Los Angeles, Orlando, and back, cake. I like that. You know what I mean? Like I had to find a coat to bring to Europe a couple of weeks ago because I hadn't used it in a year.
And you couldn't find the one that has been hanging in the laundry room for the last year?
Since my last UK trip.
That's the one.
So I get used to that, and I like it. I'm not complaining. I'm just sharing some insight because some of you listeners might not think about what it's like for the wrestler. But just so you know, I mean, the wrestlers are excited too, because especially a lot of the wrestlers in TNA that haven't been anywhere else, and they're so used to that sound stage down there at Universal Studios that they're very excited about the thoughts of wrestling in Chicago, Jonesboro, Arkansas, anywhere else that our TV tapings are going to be coming up.
And it also gives each of them an opportunity to go to their hometown. You
Yeah.
know, you don't get that if you're just in Orlando.
That is very true. So there's advantages, in having the big crowds. That's a total different kind of atmosphere to wrestle in front of than just having 1,000 people jam-packed into a little soundstage. I talked about this on my most recent audio blog, by the way. If you're missing the audio blogs and you like RVD Radio, start listening to the audio blogs. I do several a week. Sometimes I do a couple a day. They're so easy. They're much shorter than RVD Radio, and they vary from a few seconds to up to like 10 minutes or so. They're spontaneous usually. I just leave a message, bam, go straight to robvandam.com so you can hear it. And I don't know, I've been getting a lot of good feedback on Twitter. People say that they love listening to the audio blogs. Someone said yesterday they could listen to them for hours. Good shit. Well, guess what? RVD Radio is like an extended version of that with some guests. So you can't get enough RVD. Here you go. And I talked about the travel. And one thing that I mentioned for wrestlers getting out and taking the TV on the road, here's what you may or may not realize. Okay, so instead of that straight, direct 4-hour and 20-minute roughly flight that I take to Orlando all the time, now, first off, now I got to go to places that are cold, places that are snowy, places that have undesirable conditions. I'm just explaining this is going to also mean a lot of connections and not as many direct flights. You might not be able to go, You might not be able to go from Los Angeles straight to Jonesboro, Arkansas, and you might have to go somewhere else.
Oh, you definitely can't go straight to Jonesboro, Arkansas.
So what that means is leaving the house earlier. In fact, instead of leaving 11 or 12, I'll often have to leave like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which takes a whole nother day out of my week at home. And then I might have 2, 3, 4 hours at an airport waiting between my inbound and outbound flight, waiting to switch. And on that layover, believe me, it's not like, hey, I'm just going to go find a fucking bed, pull the sheet over, and get 4 hours rest right now. It's not like that at all. You walk around the airport, or even if you're in the lounge, they're very not comfortable places to spend. And imagine adding 3 or 4 hours to your shift at work, see if you notice. So now when we get on the other airplane, it's not going to be as big of an airplane as I got in L.A. It's going to be a small little piece of shit puddle jumper, so I'm not going to be able to bring my bags with me. Lucky if I fit on the plane, but...
I'm sorry. Go on.
Maybe if you had like 1 out of every 3 days were work day, you would find this is a bigger part of your life than it is if you're just waiting for your husband to get back home. So I'm just explaining that for the wrestlers.
I understand that, but also you got to keep in perspective, you're living your dream, and you work 75 days a year.
Right, wrestle 75 days a year, but since we're talking about travel, how often do I travel and then wrestle, then travel back the same day? How many times in a year does that happen?
Well, we live on the wrong coast for you to do that.
Right, if I lived in Orlando, I could leave tomorrow morning, I could go to work at 1 o'clock, and I could go back and be home by like 11 or 12. I don't want to live on the East Coast. I don't want to live in Florida. So most of my job is about traveling, especially when you consider the time in the ring could be 4 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But it's all about leaving home, taking that long flight, getting there, renting a car, driving to the hotel, checking into the hotel, unpacking the bags, seeing how much time you got until you got to pack the bags again and leaving. And that is like 90% of the job. Once you get the craft down. So anyone thinking about wanting to be a professional wrestler should keep that in mind. I think any wrestler would agree. That's the main part of the job. I'm a professional traveler.
That's always been the joke. You're a professional traveler before you're a professional wrestler.
Right. So the point that I'm bringing up here is that part of the job is about for TNA wrestlers to get a little bit more involved. I don't know to what extent. You know, obviously the bigger crowds, they're getting the brand out there. It's great. It's necessary. TNA needs to grow. Not enough people are familiar with it. I still have people almost every day saying, RVD, hey, what happened, man? How's retirement? I got asked that at my signing at the Shrine. How's retirement? Fuck, I don't know, dude. I'm still doing it full time. But so it's good for the company. Just explaining that's what the wrestlers will be. And it's not going to be like the grind. The WWE is like non-stop, town to town to town to town to town to town with a much harder vibration and much more stressed out schedule. Besides the schedule, it's just the atmosphere there. Totally different. So good for TNA. We're in Orlando tomorrow. I don't know how often we're going to be there. I'm very confused about the schedule, whether it's sometimes in Orlando and sometimes not, or all the times not anymore, or what. I don't know. I'll see you in Orlando tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. You know, all I can do is keep myself fit and at the top of my game and just keep going wherever that game may be, wherever the bus is going, I guess. Part of that is working out. Part of that is resting. Part of that is diet. Very important part of that. We are what we eat. Ever heard that? And there's consequences to what we put in our body. That's something that I want to talk about today. That's today's topic. I'm not an expert, but I am debatably a professional athlete. Obviously, I have to take everything into concern to be at optimum health. And when it comes to diet, my goals are fairly simple. I mean, I try to not eat much fat, but I go through stages. Like when I got back from Europe a few weeks ago, my weight was down. So for a few weeks, I just ate anything. Didn't matter if it was dessert, If it was cheese and bacon, and I was just eating. But got my blood report, and I got high cholesterol, and that makes me want to clean up my diet a little bit and be a little bit smarter. And so I got to make some smarter choices. I love bacon. Bacon's good in the morning. It's good on sandwiches in the afternoon. It's good with dinner. But I'm doing some reading, and I'm going to have some friends on RVD Radio today help us out with what they know about the subject. Some guys are very, very strict with diet, and some of them you can tell. I mean, you look at them. You know what I mean? For me, it's mostly about the protein. I was given this pretty simple formula a few years ago, and you can tweak this, and I'm sure everyone has their own take on this. But basically, he said, look, you want a gram of protein for every pound of body weight just to maintain, just to keep up your weight, a gram per pound. Now, if you're lifting and you want to put on muscle, 1.5 grams is good, 2 pounds is great, 2 grams. So if you weigh 140 pounds, you want to eat 280 grams of protein a day to try to bulk up. That's not easy. That's not easy, especially because you can't take 200 grams at a time. Your body can only digest like maybe 50 grams of protein every 3 hours. So what bodybuilders do is like every 3 hours, they either have an alarm on their watch or something to let them know, and they'll know exactly how many grams of protein they're taking in, all balanced out, with calories and fat and carbs and all that too. But they stay on top of it. I get close to 300 on a normal day, about 300 grams of protein, and I weigh like 230 to 240, so, I'm not quite getting 2 per, but I'm above maintaining. That's about what I do, and I work to even get that in. That's protein shakes in between my meals. My shakes count as meals, too, in between my food meals. Talked to Batista on the set of Wrong Side of Town while I was having this conversation with somebody. One of the other fighters was asking about protein, and I was telling them that to get someone's size like Batista's, you got to have like almost 3 grams of protein per pound of body weight. They're like, what? I said, Batista, how much protein do you eat in a day? 600 grams, he says. I can't imagine that. But look at him. He looks like he knows what he's doing, and he works really hard at it. Holy smokes. Now, for other people, they're not about bulking up. They're about losing weight or just being healthy or whatever. Juno, so let's go to the phone lines. This guy here, comedian, Big Eddie Borojas, friend of the show, friend of mine. You've been on the show before, Eddie, and we talked about fitness at that time. We were talking about lifestyle changes and adding exercise and shit like that. And you've had a lot of success. Like, you dropped some serious weight. I'm glad you called into the show. I thought maybe you could lend us some insight from your experience. Mr. Eddie Borojas, how are you, dude?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fucking A. Awesome, man. Thanks for calling in, man. So,
yeah.
So how's that going still? I haven't talked to you in a few months. Are you still on that same path?
Oh yeah, still moving along. I'm down 130 pounds.
You're down 130 pounds?
Yeah.
And wow, and that was a considerable. I mean, that's a whole person. That's more than Sonya weighs. That's more than my wife weighs. By you could stuff her pockets full of rocks, and she's still not going to come to that. So, and you've lost this weight by doing what? Like, if someone listening says, "Whoa, 130 pounds," what would you say is the key? Is it everything? Is it super hard work, or are you one of those people that can say, "Oh, I just started drinking water and it worked"?
It started by just changing diet. The first thing I did, stopping fast food, and kind of taking account of what I was eating. When I first started, I actually sat down and said, okay, let me figure out what do I order when I go to the fast food restaurant. And as soon as I go through the drive-thru, I ordered a couple burgers, especially as Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box is my weakness. So it'd be like a couple burgers, the 2 orders of the 2 tacos, a couple appetizers. You start adding up those calories, I'm in the 5,000-6,000 calorie range. And from just doing studies, 3,500 calories is a pound either way. Whether you burn off the 3,500, you lose a pound, or you eat 3,500, you gain a pound. So in one meal, I'm over 1.5 pounds gaining weight just in that one drive-through thing. So cutting down the food was the biggest thing. And I started off at 511 pounds, so exercising was really tough. Trying to get up and walking a block, I was out of breath. I started walking my backyard, which is, the size of a basketball court. I did 10 laps a day. And I would start off doing 5 because halfway through I get winded, have to sit down for a couple minutes, then get back up and finish the other 5 laps. So the diet was the first thing. In the first week, I lost 11 pounds just from changing my diet, eating, I started eating turkey, more vegetables, salads, water, cutting out sodas. I could go through a 2-liter soda a day, no problem, before I started dieting. So diet was the biggest thing. Exercise didn't really come into account until maybe the first, after the first 30 days. I started walking more, getting into about a mile a day. And, that took a while, too, to build up to that mile. I'd have to stop, at the corner, lean up against the pole for a couple minutes just to kind of, let my back rest a little bit because I'm carrying so much weight, my lower back would start to hurt after walking for a while. So diet was the biggest thing I needed to change at first. And then adding exercise was just the bonus. So I think the first 30 days I lost, the first week, I lost 11 pounds. Then it started going to like 9-10 pounds a week. So by the end of the first month, I lost, I think, 36 pounds was the first, a little over a pound a day I was on average losing.
Wow, congratulations. Let me ask you, the first thought that comes to mind is like when someone says that they dropped weight, everybody always says, oh, but the first bit to go was just water. What does that mean?
Yeah. I always hear that too, and it does make sense because it's my legs were like puffy and my arms and fingers were puffy. So that first 17, 20 pounds I lost was just the water from all the salt and just the water that you'd absorb from lack of exercise and just eating bad. And so I kind of believe that's just like a water weight because after, like I said, the first 30 days I noticed that my ankles weren't swollen, my legs weren't swollen, my fingers weren't swollen. And then it started getting into the fat burning, So, yeah, the water weight thing I do believe, but you can't just say, the first 10 pounds is going to be water and then after that give up. You got to push through that.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I actually have sometimes my weight difference between going to bed at night and waking up in the morning will be as much as 8 pounds. And I know that's a lot because when I tell people are like, what? Holy shit. And so I know from their reaction that's not normal, but I'm heaviest when I go to bed. I'm lightest when I wake up in the morning. I don't know what happens to the weight. I mean, I hit the bathroom a few times during the night. I guess I sweat or whatever, but my weight fluctuates that much. But I'm never like holding like a whole lot of extra weight, and then I never like really reach any extremities to where to where I really look like holy shit, or where I feel like wow, it's something I got to do something major. I've always been like pretty consistent, and I know there's advanced technology and science and studies, that a lot of the other guys, even in my profession, are ahead of me on. They whether they're taking the schooling and learning it that way, or whether they're reading magazines or whatever. I mean, I've always had people, other wrestlers, look at my diet and be like, "Jeez, Rob, you can eat that stuff?" I go to Cracker Barrel. I got the biscuits and gravy. I remember Chris Jericho used to be like, "Man, Rob, I can't believe you can eat that and look the way you do." And a lot of it I know has to do with genetics. Yeah, the people's metabolism, there's a lot you can do to manipulate your metabolism, but what you're born with, I think, is probably your best gift and your strongest asset, and obviously that's your foundation you go from. We all know people that look great, they look super lean and jacked like pro athletes, but they never even work out. It's just how they look. And then there's other people that are the opposite, right? There's guys in the ring that look like they should have a heart attack and die every time they get in the ring.
Yeah, you look at some of the linemen on football players, and these guys are gigantic, and they're out there, an hour just doing some intense workout. You're tackling, falling, getting up, running around. These guys are doing insane work, and it's like, I'm 500 pounds. Some of these linebackers, 350, 400 pounds. How are they running up and down that field all day long? And I can't do that. So, there is definitely a thing with genetics.
Yeah, for sure. And then those of us that go the extra mile, that are, especially when it's career-oriented, to be in shape in some kind of physical competition, we supplement as well, like I do. I mentioned the protein powders. I take a bunch of vitamins. My whole life I've taken vitamins, multivitamin. I don't know. I switch throughout. Let's see. Today I have fish oil. I have a milk thistle. I have CoQ10, niacin, all this stuff. I take some what we call fat burners, and that's mostly to sweat, to give me a little energy during my workout, to help again increase results. I've been fortunate for many years. I've had a real good friend, Mr. John Drake, who owns a supplement company called Mass. That's Muscle and Sports Science. And he joins us as well. He knows a whole lot more about nutrition than I do. And so I'm glad to have him on as well. Eddie, say hi to Mr. John. What up, John?
Hey, John.
Rob, how are you, my friend?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for calling in. Got comedian Eddie Borojas with us right now. We got some other guests that are going to be calling and joining as well. But while I got you on the line, last time I saw you in person when I was wrestling in Georgia, we had dinner, we had conversation, and then afterwards you said that conversation inspired a new product, which you then made. I've never been able to talk to you after that yet to find out exactly what the connection was there. I know you sent me this product, and I'm assuming, because I remember the content of the conversation, I was talking about breaking fast. When you wake up, there's that big controversy about whether you have to eat right away, otherwise maybe you're in a catabolic state, and if you are, does that really mean that your body's feeding off your muscle instead of your fat at that point, and that's reversing your gains? And so I was asking you questions like that. I'm assuming that's what inspired you to come up with the Synthogen.
It really did, Rob. And just the fact, the lifestyle of being on the road that you guys go through, it's almost like any other professional athlete, and couple that with a rock star, just the frequency. A guy in the NFL is playing every Sunday, but you guys are out there day in, day out, more like an NBA player, but more physical even. So it obviously takes its toll. The shape that you stay in, it's just phenomenal, given that. But through diet and supplementation and dedication, obviously you pull it off, with great form. But it did inspire us to look at something that we could develop to help guys that are on the road, specifically, athletes like yourself, where the food choices are less than optimal. And we were at a nice little Mexican restaurant after the show that night in Macon, Georgia, about a year and a half ago. And the food was decent enough, but not really ideal for what you needed, for a post-performance meal. So that really was a spark, and our conversation just kind of got the ball rolling on that. There's a formulator that we worked with, Rob Regish, on this product, and he did just a phenomenal job. And he and I both spent just countless hours as far as the makeup of the product, and we don't really have enough time to go into all of that, but it does allow you to get very efficient, very fast delivery of amino acids, just rapid fire. And it also has the ability to essentially complete a non-complete meal, something like that Mexican meal. 3 or 4 adaptogen caps, later in the evening, coupled with Synthogen with that meal, going off a long way to spark recovery and muscle growth even. So, but that was a definite inspiration that night, and just to see and kind of the reality of what you guys face day in, day out is what struck me more than anything else.
Nice. Well, I have always, like I said, put supplements into my body. I've always, since my mom had me doing that when I was a little kid. Some of my friends look at vitamins almost like they're drugs, and they're like, "Are you afraid to put stuff like that in your body?" And I'm like, this is mostly natural stuff we get from foods. Some of it seems to be like hormones that's in our body or whatever, but I've never felt that way. I mean, when I go to bed at night, I like to have adaptogen, which is a mass product. It has melatonin, it has tuberculous terrestrius, some natural testosterone-raising elements in it. I mean, it's only, the way I see it, it's only going to help. Isn't that the way to see supplementing?
It works in harmony with your body. It more or less restores or gives the body the ability to produce testosterone and just the recovery ability of youth. So you're kind of rolling back the clock. Synthogen, Mass-Pro Synthogen, is really a very highly concentrated food source. So it's completely wholly natural, but very nutrient dense is probably the best way to think of it. And as far as your regular diet, you know, if people can focus on nutrient-dense foods, they wind up making much better choices for their overall health, for their fitness, for weight loss, for better sleep, longevity, just on and on and on. If you look towards, you know, organic foods that are nutrient-dense, no matter whether you're focused on a paleo diet, a raw diet, gluten-free, vegan, like my daughter, I think Austin Aries is on later today. He's an exceptional, you know, vegetarian athlete. So, and some people think that's a limitation for athletes, but it is not. You know, you can supplement protein very effectively on those diets, and something like Synthogen goes an awful long way towards accomplishing, you know, those goals.
Right on. What would you say to someone like me that obviously I'm in phenomenal shape, but now I'm told that I have high cholesterol, and I know that could be genetics, but I also know I could seriously clean up my diet, especially as of late. But I'm told that it's over several months that builds, and that it'll take several months to build it down as well. Like what would you say to me, the advice, bam, start where?
Switch out the pork bacon for turkey bacon. As bad as I hate to put it that bluntly,
right.
That probably is a contributing factor. I mean, we all love bacon. It's just fantastic. And I had bacon this morning, in fact, but that's a once, maybe twice a week at most treat for me, and I see it as a treat item. And I think most people can stay on.
Day, and I eat red meat every day. Sometimes 3 times a day I'll eat red meat, and I assume that has to be a contributing factor.
Well, probably so, but I would think that pork fat more so than beef fat, in my experience, will cause an elevation. And cholesterol, I mean, it's a difficult area, and the way it's viewed has changed over the years. I mean, I don't want to stand here and say that it should not be of concern if someone has elevated cholesterol, but I don't believe it's quite the death sentence, that some people believe it to be. So obviously you want to maintain balance really in all things, but certainly diet. And some dietary fat is absolutely essential for hormone production and just general health, hair, skin, nails, just on and on and on. It's absolutely vital that we have good quality dietary fats. So, but from all sources. But the pork probably is not the best source to get those.
Right. Okay. Eddie, when you've gone through your weight differential between being 130 pounds bigger and then on the way down, are you checking your cholesterol, blood pressure, heart rate, shit like that?
Yeah. When I first started, I took out everything, the cholesterol level, blood. I did the full examination. 3 months later, I went back to the doctor, and everything had dropped dramatically. I was borderline diabetic. That dropped, that went away. My cholesterol all came back down to a normal level. So that 3-month period, what I thought would never happen, happened. I mean, everything just dropped dramatically, and it didn't feel like I had to put so much work into it. Literally eating better and just taking the initial exercise, starting to walk in the morning, running, doing push-ups, calisthenics, anything like that. It was just going out and walking for 45 minutes a day, and that made the biggest difference in the whole world.
Right. All right. Okay, well, I got a couple other people that I'm going to let on too, starting with Bruce Jingles, motherfucker. What up, Bruce?
Diet, motherfucker.
That's right, man. Got Eddie Borojas and John Drake on.
Hey, what's up, Slim?
I got Austin Aries on here in a second. As soon as we say hi to you real quick, Bruce, what up?
How are you? What's happening?
Hey, what do you put in your body, man? I know you put
weed and booze.
There you go. And you are what you eat, so
yeah. Vagina. No. You know what? I smoke.
You want to smoke the marijuana?
I smoke and I drink, but I do eat healthy. I can't eat fast food to save my life.
You serious?
Yeah, I can't handle Del Taco or any of that shit.
Okay, cool.
Are you going to pass that doobie or what?
You think you make good choices, basically?
Yeah, I'm a red meat eater just like you, but I'm also very into seafood. I eat seafood at least twice a week. I don't know. I'm not into sweets.
Sonia wants to know if your fish is fried.
Huh?
Sonia wants to know if your seafood is fried.
No, I can't stand fried seafood.
But I love like fried shrimp, the fried clam fingers. But I have to keep in mind, I have to no. As soon as you put the batter on it and put it in the fryer, it's bad for you again. So then I have to go with the baked salmon or something equally as good, just not fried.
Yeah, all my seafood is just like me, baked. So
nice. All right, cool. So I mentioned, that I'm a red meat eater, like a motherfucker. I'm a carnivore. And that my goal every time I eat is I'm trying to get in the protein. That's just my old school way of, that's why I consume shit is to try to feed my muscles. Mr. Austin Aries, who is a very special guest on RVD Radio, this motherfucker manages to look like a Spartan. He's all complete lean, solid fucking quality muscle, and he doesn't eat animals. How do you do it, Austin Aries?
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
What up,
Austin Aries, motherfucker?
You say you're a carnivore, and I say I'm an herbivore. So,
he's an herbivore,
okay. I've been accused
of... you're a bit of an herbivore yourself, so...
Yeah, I've been accused of being a lover of the herb, but So, and you've been on the show before, so I appreciate having you back on again. I wonder, because like Sonia is asking me, do I want to try this Meatless Monday thing? And I'm starting to think, well, maybe I'm going to look into the benefits. If I don't eat meat for a day, does that mean my body's going to have a day to cleanse and push out some meat that's been stuck in me or something? I don't know. I don't know that I have any bad effects from eating the meat. I don't know, but I can't imagine what I would eat if I didn't eat meat.
Your cholesterol's high and you don't think you have any bad eating the meat.
I think my goal when I eat is kind of the same as yours. It's just kind of feed my body and feed my muscles. I just look for sources that aren't animal related. So I look at things that like tempeh, which is basically a fermented soybean, nuts, lentils, beans, and rice together is complete protein. And then with supplements, we drink a lot of protein shakes and things like that on the road a lot to help supplement the protein. And they make a lot of good vegan vegan protein powders that are made up of hemp and pea proteins, chia seeds. So there's all sorts of other things. When you start getting into the nuts and the legumes and things like that, there's a lot of other protein sources out there. As long as you're kind of conscious about what you're eating and making sure you're getting enough of those things in. I eat a high fat, high carbohydrate, moderate protein diet. And it works for me. It doesn't mean it works for everybody.
Okay, so do you know the science of I need a complete protein? I know that if I combine some almonds with a handful of legumes, and that equals because I learned I heard shit like that in school, but it never stuck in my brain. Is that stuff that you know about?
It's just stuff you learn over time. I've been doing this for over a decade, so it was definitely a learning process, and there's a learning curve there because we're so programmed to think of what a meal is or what a diet is, and if you kind of break down those walls a little bit of what we're kind of programmed from a very early age to think of what is sustenance, if we change that mindset, there's a lot of things out there we're missing out on because we're kind of are in that programmed state of this is a meal, and if it doesn't have meat, it's not really a meal. You know, that's like an appetizer. I need meat, and there's a lot of things that you can put on a plate that don't necessarily have meat in them from an animal source that are very filling and satisfying, and also give you all the things you need. Yeah, but you know, for me, that's part of the fun of the process. Because I enjoy food, I enjoy cooking, so the journey is enjoyable as well.
Nice. I'm very curious. I want to learn more about that, about possibly healthier choices and alternatives to what I'm putting in my body. All right, this is the point, you know, where things start to get hectic during the show because I got so many guests. I know that Austin, you only have a limited amount of time. You're busy, as does everybody else. But Austin, anybody that has to leave, just say, hey, I got to tag out. But we got Eddie Borojas, John Drake from Muscle Mass, Bruce Jingles, motherfucker, and of course Austin Aries. And before anybody goes, you got to say hi to Diamond Dallas Page. Bang!
Yeah. TDP.
What's up, motherfucker?
TDP, motherfucker.
Dallas, I've got to thank you for your initial book, Yoga for Regular Guys. Bought it way back when, was a complete convert, have been ever since. It's made a tremendous benefit for my road bicycling career. Just phenomenal. Thank you for that.
Awesome, man. You know, it's really funny when the Arthur video, the disabled veteran, blew up. It's like 8 million views now since May. And when it blew up originally, everybody wanted to find that book. You know, we were all about DVDs at this point, but that book, you couldn't get it. So people, someone said, dude, they're selling your book for $200 new and $70 used. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. They're like, no, seriously.
I went to buy one for my friend at Christmas, and I looked on eBay, and they were seriously going for like $178, and I'm like, oh my god.
Hey, DDP, I have a question for you. This is Bruce Jingles. You helped Gabriel with his training.
Yes.
Correct. How much weight has Gabriel lost so far, too?
The last check with him, it was 87 pounds in like 5 months. I think it was 4 months, 4 or 5 months. He's running around the stage now. DDP Yoga is a big part of what he does, but more than anything, you know, what you guys are talking about today, it's the food. That Gabriel can't even look at wheat or dairy, things like that. And he still will from time to time, and he feels like shit afterwards. But, I mean, he was blown away how much energy he's got and how much his body started to heal itself. And anybody who's listening who's really serious about what you put in your body, you know, food, real food, not fake bullshit food, but real food will literally heal you. I'm sitting with Jake Roberts in Los Angeles right now. We've been going around. We were on KTLA this morning and a couple other things he's done. And I watched him go from being, 300-plus pounds, but being brittle, like literally couldn't go from standing to the ground, couldn't do a push-up on his knees. I mean, I watched him go from being brittle to being stronger and stronger and stronger. And, of course, it has to do with DDP Yoga as far as the minimal impact on the joints, but it has everything to do also with the food that he eats.
Wow. Now, hey, let me ask Austin Aries something. Do you think that having the vegan diet, besides first off, if you could just why?
Are you talking to me or Austin?
I want to talk to Austin because I seriously have some moral issues about eating other living entities. I kind of feel like I don't know that I'm supposed to eat this thing that was alive. And I've talked to people, and I understand their argument when it's a moral issue. And I'm just wondering with Austin if that's part of it, or if it's just or if it's health, or if it's just all the above, or what. Because he serves as an extreme example to me of someone that knows what the fuck he's doing.
I think it's all the above. I think the disconnect for me was, I grew up in Wisconsin. My grandparents had a farm. They had cows. They had different livestock, and I think the understanding of eating that cow, it just wasn't appealing to me. So I think at the core, eating another living creature to me is an appetizing. And then when you keep going and you dig in and you go in the ethical ways that the animals are raised, the way they're raised, things that are put in them, that you end up consuming, and then all leads to the health factors. So I think it's all of the above. I think you add it all up, and for me, it was a pretty easy decision once I started going that direction.
What do you, DDP? What do you think about this meatless Monday? I'm sure you've heard of that. Have you given that a try?
I eat a lot of greens. I eat a lot. And Austin, next time you're in Atlanta, make sure you get a hold of me. I'll hook you up with a buddy of mine who developed this thing called juice, and it's a combination of juice, and then nuts, and not so much nuts, but sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds and herbs. And I'm telling you, the best thing you've ever drank. You actually chew it though. It's juice you chew, and it is amazing. Right now, that's all Scott Hall. Besides some protein, right now, Scott Hall moved in with us as well, and he's been sober, I think, 30 days today, Jake. Is that right?
Awesome.
30 days today.
That's great.
Wanted to drink. He's got a really bad hip. I mean, really, now that he's not inebriated all the time, it's really bad. So we're going to have to do the same indigo thing we did with Scott, with Jake, because, Scott's got no insurance. He's been dropped, all of that. But bottom line is, his spirits are amazing. I've got him just drinking this juice right now because it's all about the healthier we can get him before he goes in for that surgery, the better, of course. I eat a lot of greens. I eat a lot of vegetables, which I never would have eaten as a kid. Now I love them. But I also do eat meats too. But I don't eat the meat that you get at Publix or Kroger. Right. I go to Whole Foods, and just so you guys know, it's so much that they say we are what we eat, but we are also what they eat. And just so you know, when you see that Whole Foods expensive, it'll say step 1. And if it's a red meat or a chicken or whatever it is in step 1, that's the lowest of the good stuff. Where you also see step 4 when it comes to red meat. And that means that because if it's step 1, they're allowed, according to the FDA, to pump that cow full of steroids 3 weeks out. So they get as big as they can in that last little go-home period and then kill it and cut it down. Now, step 4 means that the cow was raised on that farm and was only fed grass-fed. Now, step 5 means he was raised on that farm, only raised grass-fed, and he was killed on that farm. So these are things they never tell us. It's important to know.
Dude, that sounds crazy. I've never. That's on only cows or cows and chickens also. That step.
No, same thing with the chickens too as well.
Is it a sticker that says step 4, step 1?
Yes, they will have it right on the front counter, and you get most chicken you'll never really find over step 3 because chicken's just a dirty animal, and just the way they're done, you will find it, but it's really those ones are really pampered they're pampered what they were doing 100 years ago. That's what that means. Right. And what the chicken? Let me teach everybody something that'll be amazing for you because we all are on the go all the time. We're all athletes. We're always going to be athletes. Get the air-chilled chicken, but get the air-chilled chicken, the chicken breast on the bone. Here's how you cook it. You throw a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of lemon, some seasonings that you like, throw it in the oven, bake it for about 45 minutes, take it out. 160 degrees is what you want. When that's done, take it out, and you'll cut that chicken open. It'll be so moist you won't believe it. Cook yourself like 4 of them, and then make yourself a chicken salad the next day. But those other 2, if you want to do them for nighttime, throw them back in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. I promise you take it out, it'll be almost as moist as it did when you first came out, but it's got to be air chilled. And it doesn't shrink.
We hear you. All right. Well, thank you for that tip, DDP. Let me ask a question to John, also in Atlanta. You should hook him up with that drink. John, you used to give me these little capsules, green, or they were the pills or capsules. I think they were pills actually, but they were vegetable pills. Like they were the green things that made my pee smell really strong.
Asparagus. Alkaplex Green Plus. We still have that product for, right at 20 years at this point. I've got to concur with DDP on the meats. I eat red meat, I eat chicken, I have fish, but organic, properly processed, it means a world of difference. Grass-fed beef is really, occasionally I'll have something that's not. You're on the road, you're at Longhorn, I will break my rules on occasion, but deep green foods and clean meats, organic eggs, it makes all the difference versus conventional, what you find in the standard store. It just really makes a tremendous difference. You can taste the difference. You feel the difference literally in your body. And as an athlete, how you perform. And I'm sure DDP will concur with me on that. You feel the difference in how you perform, how you think, just on and on and on.
Huge.
And is it true that is white bread the devil's dough?
The devil's dough.
My diet is virtually gluten-free. You know, I have a little bit of rice, a little bit of potato, but not much in the way of carbs, whereas someone else, you know, performs well with more of a carb-based diet, someone like Austin. So it all depends, and we're as individual as our fingerprints, but I avoid breads, generally speaking, and pastas. I just, a little here and there, but it's more of a, infrequent thing, for sure.
Eddie Borojas, listening to all these guys, you think you're doing everything pretty good, or are you hearing a bunch of shit that you're like, wow, yeah, man, I could be doing more of that? And I want to know, like, are vegetables a big part of your diet?
Yeah, vegetables have become a huge part. Definitely more salads. And I didn't like vegetables at all. I never ate them. I mean, that's how I got to 511 pounds to begin with. So I had to go through and just literally find the ones that I liked and trying to trick myself to eat them. You know, I love ranch dressings. I could dip. You know, if I was ever going to eat vegetables at a party, it was because of the ranch dressing and dipping it in. So I found using yogurt instead of sour cream to mix like the ranch dressing in was like a little trick to use too. So I kind of weaned myself off of that too, because I didn't want to just depend on, if I'm going to eat ranch, I might as well just eat the ranch with a spoon and not even use the vegetables. So going right to vegetables was a big change, but I love them now. I mean, I love asparagus. I love, bell peppers, and there's so many different vegetables you can eat that I didn't even think about. Every time I think about vegetables, there's always peas and carrots and green beans. Those were always thought about vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to wean myself.
I wonder, like, I take that green drink, and it makes me feel comfortable in my mind that that's helping make up for a lack of a huge vegetable intake. Like, I make an effort. I'm like a little kid when it comes to vegetables, so, like, I'll force the broccoli down and shit because I know it's good for me, but it's not like a large part of my diet. But I drink that green drink, and I'm hoping that because that says it has wheatgrass and spirilla and barley, and it's got all this nasty shit in it, I'm hoping that makes up for it. And that's mostly based on the wheatgrass hype from a few years ago when the Jamba Juices popped up everywhere. Everyone was doing wheatgrass shots, and they said, one shot of wheatgrass equals 2.2 pounds of vegetables. And anybody know if that's cool, if that's bullshit?
I'm not buying that.
I don't know about that.
I'm not buying that.
It's very good for your pH balance, nitrogen, positive nitrogen balance and retention, probably more so than anything is the real benefit from those type products.
Hey, RVD, I gotta go because I'm doing an interview coming up. But John Aries, any of you guys, motherfucker, any of you guys are coming to? I know, Bruce. Any of you guys are coming to Atlanta? Get a hold of RVD. He'll give you my digits and come by and get a workout with us. I know, John, you're there, so you should definitely come by and see what we're doing. And get the information from RVD. RVD, you're the man. And love what you're doing. I want to get this podcast, put it up on my site. So let's talk about that. Put it up on my site. Thanks, guys.
Sure. Say hi to the bad guy. Say hi to Jake Roberts first.
Absolutely. I'll say Jake said, "Fuck you guys."
All right, you heard it, listeners. Anybody that wants DDP's number, just ask me. I'll be giving it. We'll be giving it after the show. I'm just joking.
Sweet.
All right, listen. Dave Sacramento has been waiting 44 minutes to ask something or say something or whatever. Were you trying to bow out? Did I just cut you off, Austin, and rake your eyes when you were trying to jump through the ropes?
Nope.
Oh, all right, cool. It's Dave from Sacramento. This is your moment, sir.
One thing I found that's really healthy in terms of vegetables, and I mean, I know you were talking about how you're like a little kid, you don't really like them. One thing that's really delicious is cherry peppers. They're sweet.
Sounds horrible.
And I know, it sounds horrible, but they're small little they're small little round peppers. They're actually sweet. And one thing that I found that goes really good, I like to experiment in the kitchen, is you boil some cabbage, and then you get some Philadelphia cream cheese after you boil. Like, you have to boil them in individual leaves of cabbage, and with each individual leaf, you add a little Philadelphia cream cheese, and then take the cherry pepper and put it in there, and then wrap it up, and it makes like an hors d'oeuvre, and then you eat that as a whole. And it's kind of like similar to a jalapeno popper, except not as it's healthier.
Okay, if you say so. Thanks, Dave from Sacramento. I'm definitely not going to do that. Anybody listening, feel free, because there you go.
I had some of those peppers at lunch today. Basically, I took some grass-fed, organic ground beef, sauteed that in a bit of dairy butter, organic raw butter, and on top of that, kale, salt, pepper, garlic in there, and added some of those peppers right at the end. It was fantastic. Fast and simple, nutritious, wholesome, real food.
Fucking A. All right, man. Well, maybe someone puts that in front of me, I'll try it. I'm not sure I know how to order it. Like that trendy restaurant out here in L.A. called Lemonade. They now have one in Terminal 5 at the LAX, but it's from Venice Beach. I have no idea what anything is there. It's like you walk through, and they have like different combinations. They're like, well, you know, grab some snow peas, some chicken peas, some couscous, and you know, that's one combo. I don't know what anything is, and it's just like item after item after item, like a big, almost like a salad bar, but you pick 2 or 3 item combos or something. I don't know. I just asked the guy to recommend something, and I ate it, and it was really good, but I would never have any idea how to order that. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Matt Detonator, thank you for producing today's RVD radio show in the absence of Miss Nikki Starr. I didn't get a hold of her. Hopefully she's fine. I'm sure she is. But, dude, you did it, and what's up with you? What are you putting in your body?
I'm putting a whole lot of crap in my body. I don't give a crap what I eat as long as it tastes good. But somehow, no matter how much crap I eat, I still weigh about the same.
Right,
really
and that's not much, is it?
No, it's not. It's like, RVD said that he thinks I weigh 200 pounds. No way, not a chance in hell.
When we were in London a few weeks ago, we were at the hotel bar afterwards, and there's this dude, looks like Russell Crowe, like a skinny Russell Crowe, and he's talking, and he's over there by himself, and somehow I got talking to him. He's like, I can't believe these are the wrestlers. I go, that's Kurt Angle. I go, yeah. I go, he's cool, man. You can talk to him, man. We're real people. He's like, so, oh my God, I must have talked to him for a half hour or something, walking around. I don't remember who I was with me, and then he slips into the conversation that he's Matt Denton, who I never met face to face, but he's been helping me with RVD radio and other things for years.
To be fair, I did introduce myself as Matt Denton
when he shakes your hand.
Yeah, I don't recall that happening when. Go ahead, what was your defense on that?
So, as soon as you walked in, I introduced myself as Matt Denton, but you were too busy looking for the bathroom to pay attention.
All right, well, I hope I found it, man. I hope I found it, dude. Cool, man. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up there, man. It was a fucking good show. That's any special that they want to add. This is a very informative show. Lots of information on there, and
I'll
weed.
I'll second or third that. I'll throw a couple of quick little ditties for
awesome. Please
snack recipes that I like to do. One easy one is, and I don't know RVD how much protein powder you can consume in a month, but I know on the road it's quite handy. I like to throw a little bit of that in my coffee. And
you throw protein powder in your coffee?
chocolate makes a mocha and vanilla makes a latte. So you get your energy, you get your protein, you're set to go. I also cook my oatmeal with coffee, a banana, and then protein powder, chocolate protein powder in the oatmeal. And,
yeah, I do that. What I usually do, I do that sometimes. What I usually do is I blend my protein in with oatmeal, blueberries, banana, sometimes some honey. Sometimes I'll throw like something else in there, but that, maybe some glutamine if I have some. But that's kind of like a traditional thing that I wake up to. But I read that that when you blend the oatmeal, that you don't get the cholesterol lowering benefits that you get when you cook it. So I mean, I read on the internet it's got to be true. So now, I'm looking into shit like that. So now I'm back to cooking the oatmeal, and I often do put a scoop of protein on the oatmeal, put some liquid egg whites in the oatmeal, put some peanut butter in the oatmeal, and stir that shit up. I like to do stuff like that. Yeah,
if anyone wants to scoot over to musclemass.com, on the main Mass Pro page, there's a link to a subpage that has just a huge long list of various ways to better incorporate protein into your diet, and protein powders specifically, as Austin mentioned. Just a lot of ideas that you would never think of, and unique, interesting, simple little ways to up your protein intake, just like he said.
Have you heard of putting protein in your coffee before, John?
I haven't done that, but I'll do it. I juice a lot, so I'll add it in with my juice at the end. We put it in, like on the weekends we'll do healthy muffins. We add a scoop or two of Mass Pro in that. Soups, a lot of people add it to their soups and stocks, and just even sprinkle, unflavored Mass Pro onto their salads, and just on and on. There's just thousands of ways you normally would not think of. People think protein powder in milk or water and shake it. That's just the beginning. That's just one way. So
I've actually used I've used a good vanilla protein powder and mixed it the consistency of, like, say, a frosting, and actually used it to frost like a healthy type of muffin or something like that too. So yeah, you get creative. There's all sorts of things to do. And I'll definitely check out that website.
I'm on the website right now, John. First off, we got to update the RVD picture on the homepage.
I agree. Well, and you're coming down in June, and we need to do a new photo shoot that day if we can get together. So let's do that, Rob.
And where do we find the protein intake suggestions?
If you go to the main Mass Pro page, you'll see like protein amino acids link up towards the top. Click that, and on that page, if you scroll down over the description of Mass Pro, you should see a link there that says something like protein recipes, something to that effect. Is that particular link?
Okay, cool. I just got to the protein amino acids page. I'm a little bit behind you. It's on that page? I forgot what you said after go to protein amino acids. Musclemass.com. Yep, musclemass.com, and then that's where I'm at, and then somewhere on here it tells you how to get more protein, or how to add protein to stuff. And that's, you go to protein amino acids, and then what was the next step?
Next step, you should see a link there on that page down towards the bottom of the Mass Pro protein description that says something like high protein recipes, something to that effect. I'm not online myself, so I can't quote it verbatim, but...
Okay, cool. Yeah, then I'll find it then. Awesome. That's some pretty good stuff. All right, so yeah, that's musclemass.com, John Drake, and Austin Aries. Do you got anything you want to plug? Your Twitter account, something like that?
At Austin Aries, pretty simple. That's
Sweet.
about it.
All right, yo.
Congrats on going
you.
on the road, guys.
That was a lot of fun.
What about going on the road? Did you say when? Or?
Just congrats getting Impact on the road. Wish you very well with that.
Okay, yeah. I talked about that at the opening of the show too, man. It's good for the company. It's gonna be harder work for the full-time travelers. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What's going on?
TNA's taking the TV on the road outside of Orlando. I'm not trying to shed a dark cloud on it. I'm just saying from experience that was one of the benefits of TNA was, doing just going back and forth to the studio in Orlando so often. Now, if we don't have a home base, and instead we have to go to places where there's snow and cold weather, connections, and crappy little airports where there's nobody even at the rent-a-car place in the morning, so you got to write down your own whatever. I'm just saying it adds to the job, right?
Yeah. I just made a note to send you more Synthogen, Rob, so maybe that can help you out there.
And hopefully for that extra investment that the talent puts in, there'll be a reward at the end of it. So that's the
so.
Hopefully the bigger crowds will bring out even more out of the show, and then getting the brand out there in the towns that he certainly could use that. So yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Just sharing some insight. I'm looking forward to going to Florida. That's tonight.
Tomorrow. Tonight. Good for you.
Yeah, I gotta leave tonight. I gotta catch a red eye. Oh, wait. I have that somewhere, but Mr. Detonator is a lot better at these fucking sound effects than me. Oh no. There it is. All right, thanks guys. So,
are you off your fucking meds or something?
All right.
Often, yes. We talked about that too. John, thanks for being on. Eddie, you got anything you want to plug?
Opening for Nick Swartzen tonight, Irvine Improv, and Ontario Improv, March 5th.
Is there anywhere, where can they find information on that?
EddieBorojas.com or Eddie Borojas anywhere, YouTube. I'm a comic. We got to whore ourselves out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce Jingles, the other whore. What do you want to play?
Yes, I am at Aces Comedy Club in Murrieta, California, Thursday through Sunday. And I will be in Corpus Christi, Texas, March 29th and 30th at Comics Live Comedy Club. Hit me up on Facebook or Twitter, Bruce Jingles, BruceJingles, motherfucker.
Yeah. All right, cool. Detonator, you want to plug WrestleBrand.com?
No, I want to actually plug RVD.com/Twitter Perception. Go buy RVD's comic book. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, awesome. Except it's actually RobVanDam.com. Somebody else owns RVD.com, and they want money for it.
Close enough.
Yeah, it is, but not really if you type that in. All right, cool. All right, and Austin Aries, I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for...
see you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
See you guys. Take care.
All right, later, everybody. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
You're listening